Hi, this is Apples, but let me show you what we can do for Father's Day. This is a simple pen kit. This pen kit is from Penn State Industries, and it makes, the ones I buy are called Funline Slimline pens. And sometimes it's hard to find something for a man or a boy, or even a young man starting out in a profession that may need something to write with that's unique. So these are some different ones I've already finished, and I'll show you how to go about doing this. I prefer to use the pen kits for a couple of reasons. Number one, you get a quite professional looking pen. Number two, they're really cheap. You get a kit, and I'll show you what all comes in a kit. You get 30 kits in the Funline Slimline package, and they're in different metal tones. These have, I don't know if we can be able to see them, Ivy Niles's dragon canes. See that dragon head there? And some of the leaves that I did. This one also has Ivy's dragon head on it. And these are, you just do it like a veneer. You roll your clay out, put your canes on, burnish them down, cut them, and then we're going to roll them. And I'm going to show you how to do that on the barrels that come with this. The only additional products you really need, more for convenience and accuracy than anything, is a pen press. It's a one-time purchase, and it assembles your ink pen. Now the one I'm going to do today is really simple, and I'm going to put tiny tats on it from Tiny Pandora. You can bake your pen blanks or your barrels several different ways. I've done so many of these, I've come up with a couple of different things. This is a stainless steel straw, or if you happen to have the beads and blend kit from Tiny Pandora, she has as well metal tubes in her kit that fit these barrels. You can use a small dowel rod and slide them on there to bake them. And you can, if you have a Sculpey bead kit that you bake on, I have two, you can adjust your holders and hold them just like this and bake them right like that. And these are the bead pins that come with that kit. And they have little triangles on the bottom. And you can put, you can put one bead pin this way, put both barrels on, and put another bead pin this way. You don't need your stands from your bead kit at that point if you do it this way. And just set your triangles up. See my little triangles down there? Just set them up and bake it that way, and it keeps it off the surface. So you don't have to worry about anything becoming shiny. You don't have to worry about anything being flat when it's baked, or what you're going to bake it on. So let me get this stuff out of the way, and we'll continue on. Okay, I have here just a piece of scraps, and I've just put them together. These are blues and golds and creams and stuff I had left over from another project. You can use Skinner blends. You can use a solid color. You can do anything. And if you want to put cane slices on it, this is when you do it. Now, I did buy the cutters, and these come in a set from Penn State. So since I'm going to be putting the stars and the arrows on these, because I wanted something that the black I wanted more black in the tiny tats so it would show up better on the clay underneath. So my clay underneath is a lighter color, and this black will show up nicely. And when you put the tiny tats on after they're baked, so the only thing you need to do, this doesn't exactly fit. I will end up cutting some clay off of this as I roll it, but I'm just going to cut them out. And because the tiny tats are going on this after they're baked, I'm just going to roll these up on the blank barrels and bake them. That's it. They will be ready to instantly bake. That's why I think these are so cool. Okay, I just laid the barrel down to get my sizing. I put the barrel on the side of my clay. I'll take my finger, make sure that it's on there. I'm going to roll it over. And I'm going to cut this little extra bit off here because I want it flush with my clay so I don't get a hump where they connect. I don't want that bulgy hump there. Let's get that little bit out. But like I said, you could use any kind of clay. You can, and that's just a little bit that I took out right there. I mean, that's it. But that little bit makes that hump and makes that different. Makes that difference when you roll it. I'm just going to roll it on there. Make sure that it's secure and smooth. No air is trapped underneath it. Make sure it's pushed together gently. I'm going to go through and cut the clay off the ends, just like you do on a bracelet kit or anything. Just make sure it's flush with your ends. There's a little piece down in there. Let me get that out. Okay, this one's done. It's ready to bake already. So let's get this one finished. And that looks really pretty. I tried to find something masculine that would work and still have something a little bit fancy to it with the gold running through it. This also has a tiny bit of flakes in it. Gold flakes. I'm not sure what clay that came from, but I just, like I said, put a bunch of it together and blended it up to see what I got, and that's what I got, and I liked it, and I kept it, and I liked it for using a pen with the black on it. So let's take out a little bit off of there. And like I said a second ago, that little bit of clay, because that, I mean, this is this wide, does make a difference with a humping where they connect. And you don't really want that. You want your ends to be smooth, because you don't want to be able to tell where it begins and ends. You want it, or meets. You just want it smooth. Just trimming a little extra off of my ends. Make sure that your clay is around your edges. Well, clean off your edges, but around the edges of the pen. Make sure the barrel, it's connected right here and not loose, because your band's going to go on one end of this and your cap's going to go on the other end with your little clip on the end, and then your pointed part's going to come out the other end, so you want those really smooth, because if you have a bulk there, then that's not going to fit flush when you go to assemble the pin. Let me double check this one. As you can see, this looks now like a really cool greenish gold metallic pin, and even though it started out a little bit turquoisey, which concerned me a little bit, but I thought, you know, once this is cut and rolled up together, this may look more masculine than what I thought it would, and it does. So how am I going to bake this? Get everything cleared off my little tray. I bake in my regular oven, in my kitchen oven, and I bake on little sheets like this or big cookie sheets. I'm just going to put these on one side of this pin, the bead pin, and the other side in like that. Separate them so they don't touch while baking. And this is ready to bake. I will cover it with foil. This is Primo clay, so it will be baked at 275, and I'll bake them for 30 minutes. And then we'll come back and I'll put the tiny tats on them. And then I'll put the new Super Matte Shine Free Sealer. You can brush this on. It's not a UV product. It's an air dry product. If it's not quite matte enough for you, once it's air dry, you can put it back in the oven safely at 275 for about 15 minutes, and it will become more matte, I think is the proper way to say it. Okay, so the pin barrels are baked. That was at 275 for 30 minutes. You can see some little gold specks in them. And you can see, let me get this clay up, the color difference from where I rolled the barrels up in this sheet of clay, the other part of this, and by the time I rolled it out, it turned into this really cool gold and green metallic looking ink pen. It's really cool the way it turned out. And in my little bowl of water here, I already have some stars and arrows of the little tats. And these are really simple to apply. I like to, let's see if I can get this back on a dowel rod. Yeah, that's tight. I like to let them soak enough to where they actually come off on their own. This one's ready to slide right off. And I take my tweezer and I'm going to wet my surface, so if it's not where I want it, it will move around. Just going to apply it on there and gently press down. And then I want to take a dry tissue type baby wipe, paper towel, whatever you have handy, and I'm going to blot it so my design doesn't move. And then let's, right, here's a star that's already come off in the water. And I'm just going to apply that right there. That had enough water on it that if I wanted to move it, I could still move it. Just going to pat it a little bit. And I'm just going to use these arrows and stars that I just thought were neat. More masculine looking than the scroll works and flowers and the tiny tattoos. Let's do the arrow going inwards. And I just set that one on there. And here's my stars. And I like to use my really small tweezers for this. They seem to not want to grab too badly and tear these. Sometimes your tattoos will tear. I see I had to straighten that one up and it was still a little bit wet under there. So here's my arrows. And here's my stars. And we have, and get these papers that they came out on. Let me see if this one's torn or folded under. That one looked like that one tore. But, you know what? We can put it on the end. And let me get these papers out of here from the other ones. Here's another part of one. Let me cut this extra part off here. Put this one on right here. Gently press them down. Get the water out from under them now that they're actually where I want them on here. That them down a little bit. There we go. There's my arrows and here's my stars. Even though this one's split, I could use both ends on that one. I'm going to set it down and let it dry. And get these pieces of paper out of my water. And I'm going to put the next ones in for the other side. And it doesn't take too long a time to get these to where they'll come off easily. Okay, let's take this one off. And the only reason I put it back on the dowel rod is because it fit tightly and didn't move. So it didn't spin on me. The barrel didn't spin while I was doing that. Okay, let's see if these are ready to come off yet. You'll be able to tell they'll either slide off on their own, or when you pick them up and gently move them, they'll slide right off. These stayed together this time. Let me scoot that down a little bit. As long as you keep your surface wet, you can move them around. And these are not the only water slide tiny tats that Teresa has in her shop. She has a whole series of them and they're really pretty. So you'll need to check out the other ones. They're geisha girls and old antique looking signs and products and just a whole bunch of things. And I guess I'm antique. I remember having some of those products, or my mom having them, or my grandmother having them. Okay. Okay. That's how simple this is. Let's put both of them back on. Okay. Let me dab this one off. I'm going to let these dry really well. And then we'll come back and we'll put the super shine-free matte finish on them. Okay, I took my super matte shine-free sealer, it's right here, and I poured it in a little cup, just a little bit. See that little white in there? That's all I'm using. I also like to use a more flat brush that's soft and doesn't have a lot of bristles on it, which is opposite of what I like to use with the deep shine. And I do not find that this leaves brush strokes at all. I've already put one coat on this side. And do not, when you use any product, basically, that you're going to apply with the brush, do not scrape the brush on the side of your container. That puts air within your bristles, and those air bubbles will transfer to your piece, whether it be a sealer, a paint, anything that you're using on using a brush to apply it with. This side I have not started yet. I'm just dipping it in. And I'm just going to work it around gently. I've got enough on my brush to where it's just gliding over the brush. Over the ink pen barrel. And it's not leaving any brush strokes whatsoever. Another good thing about this product is it cleans up with soap and water. I'm going to line them up on my bead holding racks to dry. Like I said, this is an air dry product. It doesn't take a UV light or anything for it to dry. It will dry fairly quickly. And as soon, I'm only going to put that one coat on there. That should hold my tiny tats on. And that'll give me the matte finish that I'm looking for. And I'm going to let this dry probably 15 or 20 minutes because I'm going to manipulate the barrels in the assembling press. So I want to make sure that it's really well dry before I go handling it a lot and putting it in there. Okay, my barrels are dry. They look really cool. This is my pen assembly press from Penn State, and this makes assembling your pen extremely easy. I know they look like there's a lot of parts here, but this goes together real easily. I like to put my ink pen tip on first, and your press has your handle that you put your pressure on. It has 3 plastic little disc things that fit over the bar, and whatever you're assembling goes in this area right here. Right here in the center. So I'm going to put my tip on there. I'm going to put, let me get my hand out of the way. I'm going to put the end of the tip on this side or this side, it doesn't matter, and the other end of my pen on that side. And I gently apply pressure with my handle, which is up over this way, and my tip went right on. Okay, let's do the other end. Is going to get my clip on there. I'm going to line it up. And if where you joined your clay together, you still have a little bit of line or indentation, you can put your clip going down that way. I set my cap on there. And your clip will tighten up as you tighten up your cap on the end. And it's the same thing. Put it in the center of each one. I'm going to hold my clip up so it will go on straight. Okay, I hope I'm getting all this. My camera battery went out and I had to change batteries. So let's continue here. This, let me get this handle out of the way. This mechanism right here is what makes your twist pin twist and your cartridge come in and out the end so you'll be able to write with your pen. this part goes into the part that your tip is on. And there's a line, an indentation right here. Now you can see it. There's an indentation, and that's where this is going to stop. Once you get that in there. You'll need to remove a couple of your little blocks in order to get all of this in here. As you see, this pin fits right here right now, but we've already put the tip on. And we want to put this mechanism in the end of this. So I'm going to remove the fattest one first and scoot that down and see if that's enough taken out. Let me take the other one out. Okay, so those two taken out will allow this to fit, and that has to be straight. And you just barely push it until you get it to the indentation. Right there. Okay. Using your pin assembly press, whoops, that's over with. You put your cartridge, screw it in, you put your band on, push it down, put the other end of your pin on, and here you go. You're finished. You screw it back up and your pin cartridge goes back in. You screw it out and then you can write with it. That's how easy it is to make one of these pins. So I hope you've enjoyed this. Happy Father's Day to everyone. And make your pins and have fun. Thanks for watching, and thanks for continuing to support the Tiny Pandora design team. Blessings.